Hi everybody, I am Husky Light. Thank you for stopping by. I just wanted to do a quick video on Kundalini awakening, what Kundalini is. Have you had a Kundalini awakening? What would be the symptoms of a Kundalini awakening? Because we talk a lot about that on this channel. We talk a lot about chakras on this channel and what it means to become awakening. So first of all, what is a Kundalini awakening? A Kundalini awakening is the feminine, creative, evolutionary force of infinite wisdom that lives inside every single one of us. It's usually represented by a coiled snake, and this coiled snake is coiled around 3.5 times, and it sits right at the base of your spine, and it always lies dormant there at the base of your spine as well. Now, you cannot go to a doctor, you cannot say, can you please do an x-ray of my snake at the bottom of my spine? You would never be able to find evidence of the Kundalini or the snake within you if you were to try and do this physically. It's not something that you can find in your physical body. It's not an organ within your body. It's not like you are looking for a specific muscle or anything like that. Kundalini lives in the subtle body. It lives alongside and along with the chakras within your body and the nadis within your body. The nadis are the extension of the chakras. So this subtle body also contains our energetic imprints of our mind and our patterns, our energies, plus any emotional blocks that we have, which is why it's always important to continually clear, unblock, let the energy flow freely. This is why we do this. It's where the samskaras exist. It's the mental and the emotional patterns that drive our lives on a day-to-day basis. However, this is not just metaphorical. If you have an awakening, you very much know about it, you can very much feel it, and it comes through on a very physical basis. So it's not just a metaphorical description. If you practice yoga, if you practice meditation on a regular basis, you can develop the ability to be able to feel your subtle body, to be able to feel the Kundalini as it comes up and rises in you, in the same way that you can touch your head and feel it, or feel your skin, or be able to feel how hot you are or how cold you are. You can feel it in the subtle body, and you can also start to feel in the subtle body where there are any blockages within your chakra system, where it would be possible for the snake, the Kundalini, to become trapped or blocked and not be able to flow, not have the energy flow freely. You will be able to feel that as you become more experienced with it. It's like a dancing up the spine. You can feel it move up the spine. You can feel it move within your nadis. And as the Kundalini moves up through your body, it dissolves blockages, it frees energy. But you have to work on helping it to free the energy. You have to help and do the spiritual work in order to stop the blockages that come through for you. Sometimes as a block is freed in the subtle body, you will get an insight, you will get a download, you will get inspiration, intuition that comes through to you, that aha moment that comes through for you, into a long held belief that will come up into your consciousness, into your mind, that you just know is true. Or as that blockage come up, that belief will dissolve, because you know that that is not a truth within yourself. That is part of a program, part of programming that has been put into you. Kundalini is very real, and it's very present in the lives of people who have woken up. She is beautiful. She is the divine force within that connects you. It's something that you surrender to when you are awakened. It leads you on a continually awakening process. Sometimes Kundalini is also called Shakti. So because the words of Shakti and because the word Kundalini can be used interchangeably, this is because energy change, and here's an explanation of why that actually happens, so you don't get mixed up between the two. There is one energy, which is called Shakti, that keeps taking on new shapes and new forms as it metamorphosizes and as it grows. Each time the energy takes on a new form, we give it a new name. Shakti can become Kundalini Shakti, or simply it can become Kundalini. Kundalini can then become the energy of prana, which is breath, which flows in patterns, or it flows in channels, which are the nadis within your chakras, and it concentrates itself by forming intersections known as the chakras. So we're getting very deep into this. The subtle energies condense and become known as earth, water, fire and air and space, forming our experience of the entire universe, the entire world. With a Kundalini awakening, the primal energy of Shakti, it awakens in its true form. Okay, so now we know what Kundalini is. It's a form of Shakti. It is a divine energy force, an energy that lives dormant at the base of the spine, which is the coiled snake 3.5 times. So what happens when that Kundalini awakens? What is a Kundalini awakening? It means that the snake is waking up. It means that that snake begins to move. As that Shakti starts the journey back to the divine consciousness, back to universal consciousness, back to connecting with the creator, it reunites with the small separate sense of self within the divine. It's the drop of water that is rejoining the ocean. It's the sense of self which is no longer single. You now realize that you are part of something which is infinite. You realize that you are part of a whole. And sometimes when you have especially a slow awakening, you can get that beautiful feeling of bliss and peace. You can feel Kundalini in your lower spine. You can feel it start to rise throughout your chakras, and it can be a beautiful, blissful, amazing experience, providing there isn't many blocks for it to get through, or there are no blocks. Now, unfortunately, we do have blocks, and we do have places within our body, within our chakras, that which need to be cleared. So as it moves up and goes towards the top of the spine, where it meets the base of the skull, it has to get through those blockages. Now, we can have all of that bliss and all of that peace, providing we're trying to live as pure a life as possible. Yoga is one of the primary ways in which Kundalini can awaken. And the point of the yoga practice is to awaken and keep it going, because Kundalini can go back to sleep again. It can go back down to the base of your spine if you don't keep working on it. So you can go back to sleep. You don't forget everything that has happened to you, or that you remember as awakening, but you don't progress any further. You don't spiritually grow any further. So traditions generally agree that it is dangerous to awaken on Kundalini by force. Don't try and do this. They try to say don't do it without the guidance of a master. What is happening more and more, though, now, we are spontaneously having Kundalini awakenings because of moving into the 5th dimension, and this is the way of our evolution. Kundalini can happen very naturally over several years, more so often, especially because of the 2012 and the end of the main calendar. People can awaken as a result of trauma, so such as an extreme illness, a near-death experience, abuse, It can also happen, obviously, naturally through working with a master or with a guru. It can also happen through the misuse of drugs. It can happen because of a past life awakening. It can happen by connecting your energy with somebody else who has already had an awakening. So if you were to have sex with somebody who is already awake, they could awaken the snake within you and start that awakening process. That usually comes into and within twin flame relationships. So what is the point of having a Kundalini awakening? What is the Kundalini doing as it rises, and how does this actually change you? Well, the Kundalini is beginning the spiritual journey back to the Creator. It's getting rid of your ego. It's the surrender of the ego self, death of the ego self to the divine, and completely surrendering, having a self-realization of who you really are, why you're really here as well. This is the intertwining of your Creator, of Kundalini. Often Kundalini is perceived as the realization, as the download, as the wow, I know why I'm here, I know what's going on. It's accompanied by all sorts of supernatural, mystical experiences. You can feel unconditional love, and you can learn unconditional love. You can realize that there is no single thing. We are one with the universe. We are one with the divine and everything, and we are part of a universal consciousness. So what you then become aware of is that every thought is part of the whole, that you are very creative, and you can create your own reality around you as well. This is the sleeping goddess arising, but it's hard work. There is work to be done within this. Once this Kundalini starts to awaken, you have to work on it as well. You have to try and purify your body as much as you can. As the Kundalini awakens, she purifies the mind, the body and the spirit as she rises to the crown of your head. But you have to help it along by doing your own clearing, healing, realizations, research, meditation, yoga if you can do it as well, or if you get time to do it. It's not always a smooth and easy transition, and this is why it's advised that you should never try and force a Kundalini awakening. If you were trying to force a Kundalini awakening before your blockages have been cleared, you could end up going through Night of the Dark Soul. You could become very fearful, and every chakra that Kundalini, that snake, tries to work through as it's working its way up is going to hit those blocks, and they are going to come up, and they're going to come up with a vengeance as well. So if you try and awaken it before you dealt with things, before that you have become balanced, everything that was in your unconscious, everything that you were afraid of, everything that you didn't want to face, all of your bad habits, all of your ego things, everything, it's all brought up into the consciousness, and it's all brought into the consciousness in all kinds of strange, supernatural, weird ways. So Night of the Dark Soul is very, very real. Unfortunately, I did go through that because I spontaneously woke up. It wasn't forced within me, it was just time for me to wake up, and that was the way in which I chose to wake up very, very quickly. It was part of my contract when I came down here, and I had to clear things, I had to work through things. But very much sometimes when you have a Kundalini awakening, if it does, when it happens to you, you don't even realise to start with what is actually happening and what is going on with you as your job falls away, as your friends fall away, as your beliefs fall away. You just think your life is falling apart. sometimes. So never try and force it. If you are meant to wake up, if you are meant to go through this, it will happen, because it's already there is a pre-time that you are going to do this. It's already part of your contract to do it. So you don't want to do it. You don't want to force it in any way whatsoever. You probably don't even want to try and gently bring one about. Honestly, it will happen naturally for you, unless you've got a spiritual master or a spiritual guru who is working with you on a one-to-one basis. I wouldn't even try to do it, because you have to go through this process of purification, which is required by the snake rising, by Kundalini, as it ascends from the base of your spine. And this can be really intense, and it can be really difficult. If you're not careful and you don't understand what's going on, you can think you're going crazy. You can end up at the doctors, who would take you to the hospital. You could be institutionalized, because very much times it will bring up feelings or symptoms of schizophrenia or bipolar or things like that. And if you go to the doctor at that point, then it's disorientating as well. So people who are not awake around you will look at you and think that maybe you're going crazy, because they are not awake and they have no concept or understanding of what this process is or how this process works. Whether people will awaken around you, either they will at some point, hopefully because they're in contact with you and you're awakening, or you are already awake. This will activate the Kundalini within them, or maybe sometimes you have to move away from these people because they're not predisposed to wake up in this lifetime or at this time. One thing is for sure: once Kundalini happens within you, the life that you knew, the life that you thought was real, you realize isn't real, that it was all an illusion, and nothing is ever going to be the same again. So never try to make it happen. You always need to know that you truly understand the depths of your desire and the difficulty of a spiritual path going forward, because it is difficult. The likelihood is, if that you do succeed in awakening or deliberately forcing a Kundalini awakening, it's not something you would want to do. But once you are on the path, once you are going through the awakening, there's no stopping it. You will have things brought up into your consciousness to deal with, to help you awaken, to help the snake to keep going on its journey, so that you can connect with with the divine. And once you are clear of blocks and you work on your blocks and you keep clearing, and you realize that this is a very, very positive experience, that you can change it into a positive experience, that your thoughts are going to make such a difference to the way that you wake up, then it becomes a complete gift. And also, as you're going through this awakening, which can last years and years, or it can last just a few months, plus we also go through different levels of awakening, you will find that gifts are bestowed on you. You become more clairvoyant, more clairsentient, pre-cognizance, psychic abilities, intuition, all sorts of different gifts can be given to you, which again are, everybody has got them. It's within everybody, and everybody can develop them, but you will find that these gifts, that you are becoming aware of these gifts as you go through the awakening. So I hope this helps. I hope this helps a little bit. If anybody's got any questions or needs any help, or is confused about the awakening process or the spiritual journey that you may be going through at the moment, please drop me a line. info@huskylight.com if you need healing and clearings, if you need anything. The links are at the end of the video and below. But breathe. This is a good thing. This is the best thing that ever happened to you in your life and ever will happen to your life, because this is moving you into the new reality, into the 5th dimension, which I will do another video on. Okay, take care. Namaste. I really hope this helps. Bye.